Hello, people. Welcome back to another anime review by your good friend, Chad Marco. So this time we are going to be checking out the second season of Demon Slayer. Now, I don't know why, but it seems like some of the seasons of Demon Slayer, or not even seasons, but arcs, like they're kind of separated into like these weird episode sections, right? So this is actually only a 7-episode arc, but we're going to review it all the same. So this is the Demon Slayer Mugen Train arc review, and if you don't remember, I did the Demon Slayer review a while back. It was a very good anime. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and so I said, you know what, I'm going to keep watching it, and I might as well keep reviewing it along the way. But we're going to be doing this a little bit differently because you know, I've already established the basic plot of this anime, the characters and whatnot, and what I thought about it. So this type of review, or this season 2 review, is basically going to more so cover like specific details and things that happen during the course of the story, and I'll be giving my thoughts on that. So naturally, this is going to be very spoiler filled because we're kind of going through the season and its important plot points. So it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be cool all the same. So just roll with me. All right, so in case you guys don't remember, Demon Slayer is about a young boy named Tanjirou who joins the Demon Slayer Corps after his family is slaughtered by demons. Along the way, he teams up with 2 other Slayers named Zenitsu and Inosuke. During their last battle, they battled against a powerful spider demon named Rui and his family of spider demons. It was a very hard fought battle where they ultimately managed to come out on top due to receiving help from their upperclassmen. But the battle left them feeling unsatisfied with their inability to finish the job themselves, which leads them to undertaking some harsh training and setting out on new missions. This time being the investigation of the Mugen train headed by elite demon slayer or Hashira Kyojiro Rengoku. And so you have these mysterious deaths surrounding the Mugen train. There's a rumor of a slasher or a serial killer who's killing train passengers, and the Demon Corps, they enlisted Rengoku, the Flame Hashira, to investigate. So Rengoku is a relatively new character to the series since the Hashira, they were only recently introduced. Off the bat, one could rightfully assume that he's going to be very powerful given his rank, but he is also somewhat strange and quirky. He always has this weird look on his face where it looks like he is staring happily at something in the distance with his eyes wide open. He has a very positive attitude, a heroic demeanor. He buys the entire supply of bento boxes from a merchant and gives them away to the local railroad workers. So you can already see that he is a very friendly and confident person. And so we finally get to see Rengoku in action when the railroad workers are attacked by a demon that loves to boast of his speed. And so you already know that they set this demon up to job hard and make Rengoku look good, which is exactly what happens. This is Anime 101. Realizing that Rengoku might be too strong for him, the demon runs off to kill the 2 merchants that sold the bento boxes. And even though he had a big lead, Rengoku still manages to catch up with him before he is able to kill them and quickly dispatches of the demon, showing off his superior speed to that of a demon whose specialty is just that. So clearly this episode was all about showing off Rengoku to the audience and making him come across as being likable, endearing, and also very strong. And so you can tell that they specifically chose a demon that was supposed to be very fast, and then also to give him the opportunity to have a head start on Rengoku. And then you see Rengoku still able to close the distance quickly, take him out before he's able to kill anybody, right? So this was a perfect introduction for Rengoku to the audience. And we also learned from the old lady that Rengoku saved that he has a father who protected her much in the same way 20 years ago. His father becomes an interesting plot point later in the story as far as learning more about Rengoku's past and home life. So at this point, the investigation continues once the Mugen train is back up and running. And so it's occupied with nearly 200 passengers. Tanjirou and his team link up with Rengoku after they board the train. Initially, they seem a bit put off by his quirky behavior, but soon everybody settles in. Tanjirou, knowing that Rengoku is a master of the flame element or flame style, asked him if he knew anything about his father's fighting style, who was also known to utilize fire techniques or Hinokami Kagura. But Rengoku knew nothing about it. After a bit of comedic hijinks, Rengoku explains to the rest of them that demons could very well already be aboard the train and that they should stay on high alert. And right on cue, 2 demons appear, in which Rengoku is able to quickly take care of them in excellent fashion. And so these next 2 demons are kind of, I would say, important, but this was the situation in which they are able to endear Rengoku to Tanjiro and his little crew. Because even though Rengoku has rank over them, they don't really know much about him. Like, they can't really fathom the power level gap between themselves and him at this point. And so these 2 demons appear and Rengoku is able to just take care of them, and he looks so cool and awesome. And it instantly creates like a big Anarchy situation where all 3 of them are instantly just like fawning over him and looking up to him as like the big dog, basically. But the celebrations, they soon come to an end when all of a sudden Rengoku and the others fall into a deep sleep. Now, it turns out that when the train conductor came and punched their train tickets, it activated the sleep spell of a powerful demon that went unnoticed. And so I would imagine that the first 2 demons that showed up were kind of like a distraction. This demon, he's able to manipulate the dreams of people, and he can give them powerful dreams of being reunited with loved ones or nightmares of the darkest variety. He uses the promise of sweet dreams to unhappy people in order to get him to do his bidding, much like the train conductor. So we begin to see the dreams of our heroes, starting with Tanjiro, who is dreaming that his mom and siblings were never killed by demons and that they are still living a normal and happy life. And so this demon, whose name is Enmu, he has the power to put people into sleep and manipulate their dreams. But of course, he isn't just doing this for shits and giggles. He knows a way to kill these people in their sleep. Now, certain aspects of this I don't quite understand, but essentially what he does is he puts the person to sleep, and then he sends somebody else into their dream with them in order to destroy their spiritual core. So by invading the dream of someone, you can find their spiritual core within their dream realm and destroy it, and it will cause critical damage to that person, right? And so while they are sleeping, he has these people who are hoping that he's going to use his dream power to give them sweet dreams or beautiful dreams. He uses them to go into the dreams of our heroes and find and destroy their spiritual cores, in a nutshell. We then see Zenitsu, who is dreaming about living a peaceful life with Nezuko, who is implied to be his girlfriend in this dream. Obviously because he has a huge crush on her, so this is all to be expected. Inosuke is having a dream where he is the leader or big bro of Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Nezuko, and they're all wearing animal masks like him and following his lead, and this is all very funny stuff. Rengoku's dream is a bit different though. It doesn't really seem as idealistic as the others because it's mostly just his father putting him down for thinking that becoming a Hashira meant anything. But I think it was really just a way to give the viewer a peek into his personal life. It wasn't meant to be funny or idealistic. I think they just wanted to they wanted the viewer to see, oh, this is just what his relationship is like with his father. So at this point, the children who invaded their dreams are trying to destroy their spiritual cores. Rengoku is up first, but his instincts are so sharp that he immediately started choking the girl in real life before she could destroy his. Even though he's still asleep, his body just instinctively reacted to protect himself. A very badass moment. Tanjirou is also starting to realize that he is in the dream state, but he can't quite figure out how to wake himself up. Nezuko, who was never put under the spell, she's awake in the waking world trying to get him up, but it's just not enough. And so this part is really kind of sad because once Tanjirou begins to realize that he's in a dream, he's kind of torn or reluctant to move forward because, you know, we all know he lost his family after they were slaughtered by demons. And so he's sitting here thinking that everything is back to normal. And then he slowly begins to realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm a demon slayer. My family is dead. And, you know, everything was just so perfect 5 minutes ago. And now I got to go back to my reality. And I feel like it really does a good job of illustrating why this is such a good manipulation method of Enmu, the demon who's, you know, orchestrating these dreams, because you're able to put somebody in an ideal, perfect state of living that they may have missed or always dreamed of. And so you can see why, you know, this would be a good way of manipulating people to do your bidding. But Tanjiro, of course, is built out of better stuff, so he is able to tear himself from this perfect dream of his. So the kid is starting to close in on Tanjiro's spiritual core, but he is distracted by how beautiful and vast it is. You know, I think this is one of those parts where you can't help but kind of self-reflect and wonder like what your own spiritual core would look like. I think the average person wouldn't be anything like Tanjiro's or Rengoku's. Like, I feel like mine would be like a swamp, right? Like a swamp with like some little imps running around or some shit. But suddenly Tanjiro receives a message from the spirit of his father or something, who tells him there is something he must cut. Tanjiro then realizes that in order to wake up, he has to kill himself in his dream. All the while, Inosuke and Zenitsu are instinctively protecting their own spiritual cores while they are still asleep. So in a way, even though they're all in danger, their instincts are so sharp that they're kind of like able to protect themselves anyway. Tanjiro pulls off the sleeping Senpoku and finally awakens and tries to help everyone else wake up. He eventually decides to just go right after Mr. Sandman himself. So he goes after Enmu. And so at this point, we get a deeper look into Enmu and his motivations. So Enmu is one of the lower ranked demons within Muzan's elite group, right? So they're like the lower ranked ones and the upper ranked ones. And Enmu explains that the way it works is that the lower ranked of the elite can challenge the upper rank to take their place. And so him doing this job for Muzan is so he could get more of Muzan's blood and level up and put himself in better position to challenge one of the upper ranked elite demons. So he's one of the elite ones, but he's of the lower level, right? So that means that he's, you know, he's a great demon, but it's another level beyond where he's at. And he also just talks about how he loves manipulating humans through their dreams, either by, as we can see here, you know, getting them to do his bidding by promising them sweet dreams or beautiful dreams, but also giving them nightmares and seeing how they react to him. So of course he's a demon, so he's a goddamn psychopath. So the fight is underway, and Enmu's entire strategy is basically to put Tanjiro to sleep again, which is honestly kind of lame. But at this point, Tanjiro knows how to snap himself out of the dream by killing himself. So every time Enmu puts him to sleep and Tanjiro realizes that he's dreaming, he just kills himself. And Enmu is amazed because, you know, even though he's killing himself in the dream world, it still takes an immense amount of willpower to do that. And so he tries to switch up his strategy and put Tanjiro in like a nightmare where his family, they all hate him and resent him for failing to save them from the demons. And then Tanjiro wakes up pissed off because he knows that his family would never talk to him like that. They would never feel that way about him. And he feels insulted because he would, for Enmu to imply that his family would ever look at him like that and say those things to him. And so he launches this vicious attack and Tanjiro gets the kill finally. Or so he thinks. So as it turned out, Enmu has completely fused with the train, meaning that his real head is actually elsewhere and that the real battle has only just begun. Right on cue, the others begin to awake so that they can help protect the passengers and defeat this super demon. So this situation is pretty fucked up because you have a train full of sleeping passengers and every inch of it is covered by demon tentacles, and not the rapey kind, but the murder and draining your blood for power kind. So they have to figure out how to defeat the demon while keeping the 200 passengers alive. And so Rengoku begins to fully awake now. And I gotta admit, it's hard as fuck when Rengoku gets up because he does an attack that causes so much damage that Enmu reacts to it, you know, while he's in his little protected zone. Because up until this point, everybody from Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Inosuke and Nezuko have been attacking the demonic parts of the train, but Enmu has just been relaxing, knowing that they can't do enough damage to stop him. But when Rengoku got up and started cutting his way through the train, Enmu was like, oh shit. Damn, who was that? That shit was pretty cool. And then Rengoku links up with Tanjiro at this point, and then he begins to delegate tasks, choosing to protect most of the cars by himself, letting Nezu and Zenitsu take care of their section, and sending Tanji and Inosuke to go right after the demon. Inosuke manages to sniff out the giant neck bone of the demon, but is still well protected, meaning that Tanji and Ino must work together to sever it. Tanjiro is having a hard time though because of the sleep spell preventing him from getting into a groove. But because of Inosuke's mask, Enmu is not able to use the same tricks on him. Then Tanjiro gets stabbed in the stomach by a passenger. It's not fatal, but it does play a role later. Using a super synchronized attack, Inosuke clears the way for Tanjiro to sever the neck bone using a powerful flame technique, ending the short run of the demon Enmu. And so this was, I feel like overall, this was kind of a decent fight. I thought Enmu's ability to put people to sleep was kind of lame-ish, right? It's not the most exciting ability, to be fair, but every fight doesn't have to be like this straightforward clash of, you know, swords and fireballs and, you know, just this offensive conflict, right? I do appreciate more, I guess you would say, like intellectual type battles where you have to think yourself out of the situation as opposed to just being able to get out of it through brute force. And then, you know, going into the second part where the train was completely fused with Enmu, you know, that was a much more like just straightforward, you know, clash of, you know, just fighting and whatnot instead of the whole sleeping thing. Until about the end part where Enmu started using those techniques again. But I would say overall, it was a pretty cool fight, you know. And then at this point, the train actually crashes, but they do manage to save everybody. But remember, Tanjiro got injured. He got injured when he got stabbed in the stomach by the train conductor. And Rengoku finds him and shows him like this new breathing technique that he can use to heal minor wounds, right? And so you can kind of see that Tanjiro is learning a bit more. He just got a small level up there, right? He has now a healing ability, which is pretty cool. But But there was one part that bothered me, and this is to be expected from shonen anime, so I'm not really surprised. But it bothered me how Tanjirou was boy scouting for the train conductor who stabbed him, you know, because Inosuke was like, fuck that guy, right? Let's leave him to die. And then, you know, Tanjiro, of course, being the Boy Scout, yeah, he stabbed me, but we gotta save him. It's our job, right? And it's not like the guy was under mind control or anything like that. He was being manipulated by being promised, you know, beautiful dreams, but he did it of his own will to stab this guy. You know, and I'm not saying like Tanjiro should have been out for blood over it, but it's just this whole anime boy scouting just bothers me a lot of times, because oftentimes the people who do it, they're not punished for being so damn silly or really just being too soft like that. But whatever, just a minor gripe. And so Enmu the demon, he's slowly fading away now that his neck has been cut. And one thing I do appreciate about Enmu and his death is that he wasn't sitting there just like, oh, I wish I could have lived a normal life. Like, they weren't trying to make Enmu out to be this tragic character. He was fully psychotic and fully into being a demon and the things that he was doing. Because if you remember with Rui, the spider demon, and several of the other demons, in their dying moments, they were reflecting on when they were human. And again, I'm not completely against this, but I was talking about this in the original review, that it just kind of bothers me how they kept trying to humanize every single demon instead of allowing you to have the satisfaction of the heroes defeating them. But with Enmu, you don't get any type of like sob story or anything like that. His only regret was that he wasn't able to complete his mission. So he was fully invested in being a demon, which was something that I could appreciate, right? Because the guy just get tired of the whole trying to make the viewer sympathize for the demon. Well, if you thought it was over, it's not. Another demon shows up, and this one is actually an upper 3 demon, Akasa. So he's the cream of the crop, and right away he goes after Tanjiro, not Rengoku. And this is important later, right? Because you would wonder, why would you go after Tanjiro, who is obviously out of commission? You know, he's healing up using that technique, but he's still on the ground, right? Why wouldn't you go after the big dog, Rengoku? But anyway, Akasa tries to convince Rengoku to become a demon, not wanting all his potential to go to waste due to the limitations of being a human. But Rengoku, of course, refuses. So the battle between the two big dogs commences. And so once they start fighting, one of the first anime tropes you'll see is the whole I can't follow their movements thing, right? So Tanjiro and the other guys, well, Inosuke, I think Zenitsu is still asleep, they're watching the battle, and it's that thing where you see the flashes of light as they're fighting, and they're clashing against each other, but you can't really see what they're doing. And obviously they're trying to illustrate that this battle is on a completely different level. Whenever I see this in anime, I always think back to when I forgot the exact fight, but I think Gohan in Dragon Ball Z was watching Yamcha fight the Cybermen, and Piccolo was trying to tell Gohan like how he should focus his attention to see what's actually happening. I always think back to that moment, but this is such a typical anime thing, right? Where a weaker character is watching a stronger character fight and they can't keep up with their movements, right? Akasa is primarily a hand-to-hand fighter, a martial artist, though he can send airwaves through sheer force of his attacks, which allow him to strike from a distance. And of course, Rengoku, he's a swordsman and he has flame techniques, and they're just going at it. The fight is raging on, and it's all very well animated, I'll say. But even though they seem to be evenly matched on the surface, you get the sense that Akasa is holding back, and that's because he is. You know, the whole time he's fighting, But he's trying to convince Rengoku, hey man, like just chill out, stop, become a demon. You're gonna get old and you're gonna die. All these powers gonna go to waste. Be like me, man. So he's fighting, but you can tell he's more relaxed than Rengoku. And slowly but surely, Rengoku, he begins to wear down. Akasa continues to insult Rengoku's fragile human body, not understanding why he would continue to struggle against the impossible odds in front of him. But Rengoku maintains his resolve to protect everyone and readies his final attack. Rengoku is engulfed in flames that take the form of a dragon, pushing himself far past his limits. He launches at light speed at Akasa, who counters with an equally powerful attack. Rengoku manages to inflict heavy damage on Akasa, but suffers a fatal blow through the torso in the end. And so, at this point, the battle is about over, and Rengoku, having a near-death experience, he has a flashback to his mother talking to him when he was a kid. And so we learned that when Rengoku was a child, his mother was sick and she was dying. And Rengoku, even at this point, was known for being very powerful. Everyone knew that he was special. And his mother was telling him before she died that the reason why you're so strong is that it's your duty to protect everyone who is weaker than you. Right? So I want you to use your strength to protect the weak. And then she embraces him, and then the flashback is over. And this gives Rengoku a burst of energy, and using his last ounce of strength, Rengoku slices his sword halfway through the neck of Akasa, who then realizes that the sun is about to come up. And this begins a desperate struggle to keep Akasa pinned down until the sun rises and destroys him. Tanjirou, seeing the opportunity in front of him, tries to help as well, but he is just too injured and slow. Akasa barely escapes and runs off into the forest, but not before Tanjirou is able to stab him in the back. Although pissed off, Akasa continues his escape, and Tanjirou continues to insult him. And so there's a funny part while Tanjirou is yelling at Akasa, because they got so close to being able to kill him, at least by utilizing the sun, but he managed to get away from Rengoku as Rengoku was like holding him down. And Tanjiro was obviously very upset, and he was just screaming, and at one point he said, "You didn't win, Rengoku won." And I get what he was trying to say, but that part just seemed like so much cope. And I remember I made a thread on the anime board on 4chan where I posted the screenshot of him saying that Rengoku won, and I was like, cope. And it started a whole thread where people were talking about the fight, and they were arguing over, whether it counted as a victory considering all the circumstances of the battle. And to be realistic, right? In the end, Rengoku lost the battle against Akasa. But the great thing about it was that he was able to complete the mission of protecting everyone else. He protected Tanjiro and his team, and he protected the 200 passengers, right? And you got to give him credit for that. But as far as the actual battle between him and Akasa, Akasa came out on top. Even it was very close, and I remember when I was watching it, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, yo, get him. Like, you almost got him. Fuck. And right, because they did such a good job of letting you know that Akasa was a big dog, right? And so you want that kill. And I kind of got the sense even before that Rengoku was going to lose this battle. Because if you watch the opening, anime openings love spoiling shit. If you watch the opening, you can see like Tanjiro reaching out to Rengoku, who is like walking into the flames. And I saw that and I was like, it's like they're kind of telling us that Rengoku is gonna die, right? And that's exactly what ends up happening. But they got so close. I mean, Rengoku had him held down, had his sword in his neck, and the sun was coming up. But Akasa was able to basically rip his arms off and get away and then run off into the woods, right? And there's more to this, by the way, going into the next arc. And I'll go ahead and just mention it real quick just to kind of make everything come full circle here. So you remember earlier I said that Akasa attacked Tanjirou first. That wasn't by accident and it wasn't for no reason. The reason why he did that was because he was given direct orders from Muzan to kill Tanjirou. Like, Tanjirou was the target because Muzan, he's worried about Tanjirou. He fears Tanjirou because of who his father was. And so he got Akasa to go to the Mugen train location and go ahead and take out Tanjirou. But Rengoku obviously got in his way. So when Akasa came back to Muzan, and you see this in the beginning of the next arc, Muzan was very upset because, you know, he failed to finish the job, right? And so when you look at this battle between Akasa and Rengoku, you know, even though Akasa won the battle, Rengoku was the one that was able to complete his mission while Akasa failed his mission. And of course, this all leads to, you know, greater events down the line. But in the end, like I said, Rengoku was defeated, but he was able to protect everyone on the train. And before he dies, he gives his final message to his brother and his father. Well, he tells Tanjiro to give these messages to his brother and his father. And he gives Tanjiro some encouraging parting words of advice and gives him a little information about his father's fighting style and where he could learn some information about it. And then he finally dies after seeing his deceased mother and receiving her approval. Well, I guess it's the spirit of his deceased mother, and he dies with a smile on his face, right? And I can't even lie, bro. Like, this part gave me, you know, manly tears, right? This was very well done. They did it. They got me. They had me tearing up here. You know, the one thing I will say that I think is unfortunate about this particular arc, though, is that they don't really give you a lot of time to grow to like Rengoku. It all just kind of feels like they're forcing it on you very quickly. And I guess, you know, within 7 episodes, you know, this was a relatively short arc, to be fair. And I could tell from the beginning that that's what they were doing. They were trying to like beat you over the head with Rengoku is so cool, he's awesome. But then by the end of it, you're fully bought into it, right? Because they just did such a good job, especially during the Akasa battle, you know. And before he launches his final attack and his eye is busted and he got the broken ribs and everything, and then he still manages to pull off such an awesome attack, and you know, he gets punched through the stomach, but still finds another ounce of strength. And like that part in of itself was so cool, because that's when you see what his mother meant when she talked about how strong he was. Even though he was battered and beaten, even though Akasa had his whole arm through his guts, you know, Rengoku still had the strength to hold on to Akasa and stab him halfway through the neck, right? If not for Akasa's ability to just detach his fucking arms, he would have been stuck and he would have got destroyed by the sun. Even though Rengoku was as good as dead at that point, you know, that's what made that part so cool, was that you see that Rengoku wasn't just like a powerful elite demon slayer. Like, he was something special in terms of how strong he was. And they did such a good job of illustrating that. And so when you see what his mother told him and how he was able to accomplish that, how he put himself in front of everybody else and lost his own life in the process of fulfilling his duty, you know, it was just a very beautiful moment, right? And so I couldn't help but tear up. And so Rengoku dies, you know, with a smile on his face in, you know, typical anime fashion. And then Tanjiro and Inosuke and Zenitsu, everybody's crying. And, you know, word goes around because, you know, they have those birds that, you know, relay messages across, you know, across the land. Word goes around to the other Hashira and the head of the Demon Slayers that Rengoku was killed. You know, everyone is kind of surprised that, oh, you know, because I think Rengoku was kind of considered to be like one of the most powerful out of the elite demon slayers. So it kind of came as a surprise to them that Rengoku died the way that he did. But yeah, word gets around that Rengoku is no more, and then, you know, that pretty much closes the arc. And so my closing thoughts on this one is that, you know, overall, again, short, but it was still pretty good, and I enjoyed it. You had some good battles. One thing about Demon Slayer that I can say, though, is that overall, this anime is just so well animated. Like, that's what always stands out to me, is like there's no quality whatsoever. And if you don't know, quality is a meme, an anime meme, meaning that, you know, poorly drawn, poorly animated. You get none of that here, right? Unless you like just are meticulously frame by frame looking for it. But overall, I mean, it's so well animated, and like the comedy was on point. There were like a lot of funny moments, like when you were seeing Inosuke's dream, and everybody had little animal masks on. They were following behind Inosuke. You had some good battles where, you know, you saw Rengoku take out a couple demons. I love that one part, though, when Tanjirou was fighting Enmu, and Enmu tried to, again, manipulate him using using a nightmare, showing his family disapproving him and his failure to protect them, and then him knowing like they would never say that, and just how that pissed him off so much, and then he just, you know, he managed to cut Enmu's head off, even though that didn't end it. That didn't, you know, that wasn't the end of Enmu. Like that part in of itself, right, was just, for me, that was like Tanjirou's cool moment. But overall, this part was mostly about Rengoku, you know, and showing off Rengoku. And I think it's kind of important because this is really the first time, no, not the first time, because we do get introduced to the Hashira and what they can do towards the end of the Spider arc. But I feel like this one, more so than that, shows off the power level gap between Tanjiro, his team, and the upper level, or rather the Hashira. And then you also see the upper level demon too, with Akasa, right, compared to the lower level one, Enmu. And so it just kind of all just shows you where the anime is going in terms of the power levels and how far Tanjiro has to go and where he's at. But the next arc, and I'm going to be reviewing that, is, I think it's the Entertainment District arc. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that one. Trust me. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'll see you on the next anime review. So, Johnny.